This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Dean Jean. Dean Jean. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Hello, America, and welcome to the #1 radio station in all of Fort Myers Beach. Beach Talk Radio. Here are your hosts, Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good Monday evening, everybody. Welcome to another stunning episode of Mondays with the Mayor. Back at our regular time slot at 6 o'clock. A lot of stuff to talk about. But first, we're going to hear from one of our sponsors. Take it away.
Okay.
Come on, you don't ever read any of these.
Well, and now there's a reason why. Friends of Little Estero Island is a group of islanders promoting the efforts of the FWC, and that Foley, Folei, supports their efforts to promote and protect the imperiled birds. Did you write this?
I didn't write it. Eddie Rude wrote it.
Oh, Eddie. Foley will be doing fundraisers to assist the FWC and property owners in the financial burden of restoring the beach to pre-nesting conditions. The Friends of Little Estero Island are committed to the preservation and protection of the nesting shorebirds and seabirds. Please go to the Facebook group, Friends of a Little Estero Island, to join their group.
All right, very nice. I'll read the ads for the rest of the show.
It just... Good luck.
Oh, and there he
Random
is,
bizarre.
ladies and gentlemen, the head muckety muck of all of Fort Myers Beach, the mayor, Dan Allers. Dan, how are you? Busy day today.
It's been a busy day since, well, forever, but since
Yeah.
Thursday, it's been kind of nonstop.
Cool. So I everything that could be said has been said about last Thursday. Everything seemed to go off as well as to be expected with the heat and you never can control exactly what people are going to say and how long they're going to go, but it is what it is.
We only went over 26 minutes, so that's not that bad. With that many, as you say, muckety mucks, 26 minutes isn't bad.
Yeah, and all of those 26 minutes go to Kevin Guthrie, and who's going to say anything because he's the guy with all the money.
He's the one making it happen for sure.
The thing that I was a little confused about that maybe you can clear up is why was Dave Maluka on the stage? Like he's a candidate for Lee County Commission, and Brian Farrar is also a candidate, but he was in the audience. How did that happen?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know who ended up being on the stage behind me. There were some chairs up there, and staff had put out some names. But there were some people that were there that, it was a bigger turnout than I expected. Let's put it that way. So I'm not exactly sure who was all on the stage.
Gotcha. Okay. So
but I did see both of them there. I talked to both Brian and David.
Yeah. Have you picked one yet? Have you endorsed one? Do you plan to?
I have not. I have not had a chance to sit down with either one of them now that this is over. I hope to do that, here in the near future to be able to pick their brain a little bit about Fort Myers Beach.
All right. First, I forgot to thank everybody that participated. I did something behind your back today. We raised over $2,000 for the Beach Baptist Halloween trunk or treat, and we did it in 49 minutes. So we're going to deliver a check to them tomorrow when we drop off the candy for the town's October 20th.
You're going to need a bigger than a baby truck that you have to drop off that candy.
How dare
These
you.
people came through. We're going to need your truck, Dan.
Dan's got a real man's truck. So,
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear either one of you.
How about now?
Now I can hear you.
All
Okay.
right, good. I don't know what happened there, but
So, I just want to answer, Greg. No, it's orange spice tea. So
yeah. So Greg was the one that started the baby truck thing. So thanks for that, Greg. So thank you to everyone that donated. We only allowed them to donate up to $50 max, and all the names of the folks that donated today are on our Facebook page, and they'll be in the newsletter tomorrow. The other thing I wanted to ask you real quick about the town council meeting today was that Andy, the town manager, announced that you're going to have fireworks on New Year's Eve, which was great. People love fireworks. So any details at all about that?
No, I'm still working through it. There was someone that wants to remain anonymous came forward and offered to donate some money to have the fireworks display. So I know Andy and Jeff were working to see, could it happen? Can it happen? How can it happen? Get some numbers put out there. So he brought it before the council to make sure there was a willingness from the council to have it. So there was a unanimous support for it. So now they'll move forward with the contracts and get all the details worked out. So as soon as we know exactly what, where, when, how, that kind of stuff, we'll let everyone know.
And it may not be the full amount from what I understand. There may still need to be more money raised or added to the pile.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how much money has been. It's going through a nonprofit, so I don't have any idea how much money they've donated yet.
Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about money. That's not a nonprofit. There was all kinds of craziness going on since Friday or Thursday, actually, since when the state handed out that list of municipalities that received money from the $338 million, and the town of Fort Myers Beach wasn't on there. And then there was a lot of going back and forth and discussing things over the weekend. And turned out this morning the town got $13 million, $8 for beach renourishment, and a $5 million loan. All those other municipalities last week didn't get it wasn't a loan; they were given the money. So, can you kind of take us through what happened?
Yeah, well, I don't know what you mean when they were given. I don't know what the designation letters or the confirmation letters came out today. We got one for $5 million. It was a 0% interest that could go towards the 17 plus PA projects. There's a lot of echo and backfeed I can hear. I don't know what you did, but it's very echoey on my end.
I don't know how it sounds to the people out there, but it sounds exactly the same on our end. If somebody,
Okay, well maybe it was just I can hear myself.
I can hear it.
all right, I'll turn off our mics when you're speaking.
Okay. Now I can still hear myself, but that's okay. So yeah, yeah, it's like feedback. That's a good. Cindy makes it. There's feedback. I can hear exactly what I'm saying, and echoey. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Dan. I think I know what to do, but go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, we received a letter today. The $5 million loan would go to the 17 plus projects, PA projects, public assistance projects that we put in for FEMA reimbursement. That money can be used to get the A&E started, to design, get kind of the hard numbers in place so that when we go back to Tallahassee, we have real numbers that we can ask for certain projects. Like I said, there's 17 of those, roughly 18 or 19, between 17 and 19. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but 17 were listed in the letter that we could use that funding for, but I believe it was 19 total that we'd requested, which was a total of 24.4 million, with a little bit of change in there. But and then we also asked for beach renourishment, street lights, and there was a $3 million ask in there for the stormwater. So out of all of it, we got another $8 million that was a grant that was given to us for beach renourishment. We originally asked for 19 or 9 million. Or is that here? Hold on. I got the exact numbers. $9,199,105 is what we asked for for beach renourishment. We got an $8 million grant for that. We also asked for the street lights, which is $7.9 million. That grant actually went to the county, that the county will be passing through to us to get that project done. So in total, we got just over 20, we're right around 21 million.
Okay, and I think I fixed the sound, so I'm hoping you don't.
Much better. Okay. So the grant the grant that went through of the 7.9 that we asked for, we got $7,766,387 that will be passed down from the county to us once they receive it, to be able to execute the contract with FPL to do the Estero Island lighting project.
Okay, so there. Go ahead.
So how much do you have? Oh, I can hear it now too. How much does the town have to bear in that cost of the lights?
Nothing. That will cover the entire, that will cost nothing to the town.
Did you get confirmation from the county or from the state that they were sending the money to the county? I mean, that's definitely going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. We want to make sure that
there was,
we kind of always had known about the 8 million and the 5 million. Weren't exactly sure how that 8 million was working out, if that was going to be street lights or beach renourishment. And then we roughly knew about the $5 million in the zero interest loan to get the project started, that then get funded through FEMA and get paid back through the FEMA reimbursement. So that money there, that is just to get us going to start some of these projects so that we can keep that money flowing through, I guess, if you will. But we weren't sure about the other 7.9 or 8 million that came out. So in total, we got just under $21 million out of what we asked for. And the reason we asked for, some people may be asking, well, why'd you only ask for 24.4 million when we have over $60 million worth of stuff we need to fix? In talking with the legislators, they made it very clear to us that, and it's totally understandable, you can't just put out, $50 million and it sits in the bank account somewhere unspent. So their recommendation and what we followed was to put out our request to get the project started so that we can get some hard numbers to be able to go back. Then this session, we'll certainly ask for more money. Town hall, things like that are not going to be built in 6 months or a year. So it doesn't make sense to have all that money to build town hall sitting in a bank account somewhere doing nothing when it can be used throughout the state elsewhere. So we understood that. And they came pretty close. We asked for 24 million. We got 21. So,
okay. So can you kind of clear up, was there confusion from the original letter that the state sent out that the town wasn't on? Was the town supposed to be on that list and somebody just left it off? Is that the same thing that you got today?
No. Well, that press release that you're talking about, it did say there's the highlights of what's going to come out. It wasn't a full list of what was going to come out. We don't have that full list. We don't know what Sanibel got. We don't know anything else because we don't have the letters that were sent to them. So without seeing exactly what was sent to every single municipality, it's hard to say where the money went or where it didn't go. But, we're thankful for all the help we got. We're thankful for this money, and we're certainly going to ask for more.
So being that you really got 5 million to start off your 17 projects, I mean, how did they justify that Cape Coral got 50 something million to start their projects? That's the Fort Myers Beach was ground zero. You'd think they would be at the top of the list with the majority of them with more money than 5 million.
Yeah, I don't know the process. I don't know exactly how they justified, how they allotted the money, but obviously we're concerned about it. We're thankful, but we're concerned that, between Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach, we're over 70%. We'll be down in Ad Valorem, and Cape Coral is 14% to the good. So, and they got potentially more money than both of us combined out of this first appropriation round, but there'll be more, and maybe next time they get less and we get more, and it'll all work out. But that was concerning when we saw that at first. We know they had damage just like us, they had cleanup just like us, but they're gaining 14%. We're just over 14% in Ad Valorem, and we're going to be down over 40%. So, and then Sanibel's in the 30%. So we're over 70% between the two of us. So, and as you said, is the two hardest hit areas. It was, but this is a long game. It's not a one year thing, one pot of money. There'll be more money coming to us this year and more money next year. So this is it's a long-term thing. It's not a one-term thing. So it's best to not get too worked up over the small details that are not going to let us sit here and flare in the wind. It's just a matter of going through the process, and we followed the process that was recommended to us, and we got pretty close to exactly what we asked for. So we're pretty happy, and it allows us to continue making improvements and moving forward with that $5 million.
So was the total that you asked for from the state 24.5 or 60? I get confused.
24.4 something. I don't remember the exact number. It was just under 24.5 million we asked for. And that 5 million will cover pretty much all the dollar amounts that we asked for to start some of these projects. Again, some of these projects haven't been fully obligated yet. So it's difficult to ask for something that, one, you can't pay back, and without FEMA helping out. So we got pretty close to about the only thing that wasn't fully funded, but this money could be used towards that, is some of the stormwater infrastructure stuff. So, which is going to be on our list going forward.
So the 60 million number is that's what you guys estimated would cost to repair all the projects in full.
Yeah, and that's a rough estimate based on, and again, that's where this 5 million will come in. Now we can actually, use it to get some actual hard numbers in place for whatever the construction costs are for different projects like the North and South Tower. I mean, got a whole massive list here of what we submitted. So it's the pool obviously is on there, mooring field repairs, Times Square repairs, all those things that everybody knows that we need help fixing. They're all on the list.
Right. So the gap between the 21 and the 60, is that going to be filled in with FEMA money?
Potentially. I mean, some of this, that's where it gets difficult, and that's where all the people involved through Tidal Basin and Joe, our financial person, they all work through that. It's hard to figure out what you're going to get from FEMA, what you're going to get from insurance, and then what is that gap left over that the town has to pay for. And that's kind of the money where these loans come in from the state. They help us out with providing us a lower 0% interest, in this case, loan, to be able to get that process started so that we can then submit it. FEMA can start paying back to reimburse for that loan. And then you have another round of funding this year.
So do you have enough now? Because you guys keep batting numbers around and it's, do you have enough now to get started on the projects that you can get started on?
On some, yeah. There's some, obviously the ball field, pool, we're working on trying to get the pool going. Times Square, obviously, there's a plethora of things. Bay Oaks is being worked on right now. So all these things, this allows us some flexibility to get it started to where we'll actually have real numbers to be able to know. Town hall, for instance, that could be anywhere from 20 million to 50 million. It just depends on what construction costs are and what is needed. We're certainly not wanting to do more than what is really needed and try to, leave for a little bit of growth in the future. So once we get those hard costs, then we can actually sit down with our legislatures and say, here's what it's going to cost to build. Here's how much we're getting from insurance. Here's how much we think we can get through FEMA and potentially through mitigation money. Because if you build it stronger, there's another avenue. You can get even more money from FEMA if you're building it above what the requirements are. So this money will actually allow us to start putting pen to paper and figuring all that out.
Have you prioritized the list of things that need to be done? Or is everything a priority? You know what I mean?
Well, obviously, infrastructure is very important. Getting our economy going is important. Things that we can potentially make some money off of, concerts in Bayside Park, things like that we can help generate some revenue for our businesses and our residents and start building back up the coffers and try to get through this next year or so of the revenue replacement. That revenue replacement is a big ask of ours. That's probably our number one ask is helping us replace the revenue that we lost, or we're going to lose the 40-some%. So that'll be another ask that we have this year. We do have the bridge loan that we got that is help setting that up or offsetting that a little bit this year. So we've got some help, and we'll ask for more help this year.
Okay.
Right now, staff's still compiling the list of legislative asks that we'll have when we go up there on the 18th to sit down with them and get our first crack at the apple.
Okay, so you go back up on the 18th. Is this another year? You have to wait for more funding, or how does that work? When will they be passing out some more dough?
Usually it's in July, just like this year. It's when the budget cycle, when they go through all of the committees and all the votes and the budget's done. It's usually in July. July 1, I think, is when the funding can then start being released. So yes, it'd be another year or roughly this time frame before you'll see another round of funding. But designing things, I mean, anybody that's designing a new house, they know it's a process to go through.
Okay, so the lighting thing. Let's say you get notice at some point from the county that they got the money and that they're going to send it to FPL. What's the time frame to get the lights installed?
Well, we've got the contract from FPL. It's just a matter of making sure we were getting the funding. Now we can sign the contract, and as soon as December, they're planning on getting this rolling. So the sooner we sign the contract, the sooner they'll get started.
And the only other question I had about the lights was, okay, so now it goes through Lee County because they own the road. I guess that kind of makes sense. But they used a fixture that's not the same fixture that you guys were waiting for the salt chamber to take a year to approve. Is that going to be an issue at all with the fixture? Or are they going to use your fixture, the one that just got approved?
Yeah, so we're going to be using the BLX 6 fixtures. That's what we were going through the entire time. The county has been working on a design plan for the crosswalks, which everybody is familiar with. So the 7.7 or $7.9 million roughly, that will be specifically for what we've been talking about over the last however many years. All of Estero Boulevard, all the side streets, Old San Carlos, North Estero, and then the county is still working, as far as I know, they're still working on their portion of the crosswalk, but they're working in conjunction with FPL as well. And I think it's the same fixture. It might be the BLX8. I can't speak for the county, but it's the same manufacturer. It just might be a little bit different fixture. I don't know how because they have requirements that they have to meet for crosswalks. So they're handling that part, but they're working in conjunction together. So it'll be a smooth process, hopefully. But this is one thing that anybody who's been paying attention knows has been going on for a very long time. I think way before I came on council, and I've been following it since the MPO days. And we're finally going to get a solution that I think everybody can live with. We'll have a safe lit road. We'll have safe lit side streets and safe Old San Carlos. So it's one big thing off the checklist.
Did you guys talk about how long that's going to take? Do you know?
They said that if you're talking about FPL with the entire lights,
yeah,
their goal is to have it done before the start of the next turtle season.
Cool. Wow. All right. So the pier's gotten a lot of publicity the last week or so with Alan's presentation. We did an interview with him. He did a presentation today in front of you guys, and it seems like you would like to try and move something forward to get the county, light a little fire under the county. With your discussions with Ray Sandelli and with the county manager, where are they on replacing the pier?
Well, I think that they made that clear at the meeting last week. It was, this is going to be a long process. It's not something that's going to happen in a year. They're waiting for obligation for Lynn Hall Park, and the pier is what I got out of it. Just like we're waiting for obligation on certain things. So until you get that obligation, there really is no starting point. So I think this is a good, and they've always been upfront with us and said, what does the town want? Tell us what you want. Doesn't mean necessarily that's what you're going to get, but tell us what you want. So I think that the fact that Alan and his wife and their dog took all that time and the community, the community members putting their time and effort and money into this to at least get the discussion and having hard facts. The county really likes to see hard facts. And I think that they did a very good job of putting facts together. I think there's a couple little holes that I mentioned today that if they can fill those in, and it can be brought forth, it may go somewhere, it may not, but they're certainly receptive to it. Now it just becomes a matter of dotting some I's and finding some funding and getting FEMA to obligate it and go from there.
And that design that Alan and the committee came up with, I mean, it's almost like everybody's been saying, this isn't really what we want. This isn't really the design that we want. What we want is for the county to make it the top priority in all of Southwest Florida. That's really what everybody wants. Whatever.
Yeah, I can't speak for the county as where it is in their pecking order as far as priorities. I mean, they've got just as imagine the stuff that we have to worry about and fix. They've got a much bigger footprint that they're worrying about. But so I can't speak for them as to where it is on the priority list. But I think we're doing the right thing, and I think the community group is doing the right thing and putting together at least a starting point. And I think he made that very clear that this is not necessarily a final design. This is just a starting point. And I think the data he put together and presented was really an eye opener as far as reasonings for length and width and construction types and how you can save money and putting on a different spot versus the spot it's on. So I think all those things made a lot of sense. Getting it, right now you hear 38 million, that's a lot of money. How do you fund that? So I think providing some true funding possibilities. And you look at that looks like it looks like a big Kohl's building.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of ways that can be softened up, but in our initial conversations with the county about what can we do with Times Square and Lynn Hall Park and Crescent Park, and we know everything has to be built up there. Does it make sense to have an elevated area that connects all of that together? It's beneficial to the business owners. It's beneficial to us. It's beneficial to the county. Is there a will to do something like that? Again, that's just a rough rendering that they put together, but it gives you kind of an idea of what it could look like. And if we can get everybody on board, I think we could move this along a little bit quicker. It saves everybody a little bit of money. You only need a couple of elevator shafts and some stairs versus every single business having an elevator shaft, which, not only saves you money, but it saves you space, especially in some small lots down there. So it's a good starting point. And I think he was very, very wise about saying he wasn't concerned with Times Square. He was looking specifically, and the committee was looking specifically at the pier alone and what could happen there. So I think with a few more, polished pencil marks here and there on some of this stuff, I think that the county then can at least hear it, and it goes from there. But the TDC, I think, is a very important step because they're the ones that we could potentially get some funding from if we can get them to agree that the Times Square is an actual beach access. That's a difficult one that we've had a road to fight, but it is probably the most used beach access on the entire island. So
it's nothing but a beach access right now.
Exactly.
That transcription of who you were talking to, they felt like it was going to, a lot of, or almost all of it, going to be FEMA money.
Yeah, Dave Harner, the county manager, is who I interviewed, which is going to be in the newsletter tomorrow. Yeah, and that was my thing. If it, you've always said that if FEMA is going to be paying for projects, it's got to go back exactly the way it was. And I wonder if that applies to a pier.
Well, I don't think you can have it go back the way it was. It's got to go up.
True.
I mean,
that's
it's got
true.
to
Yeah,
be built back resilient.
Yeah,
It's not.
So does Town Hall, though.
Right.
Yeah. So when it say it has to be built back the way it was, that's in order to get the funding pretty much without any delays. Now, if you're going to change it, you're going to move it to a different location, you're going to do different things. FEMA, my understanding is the way FEMA does it is they give you, this is what it's going to cost. This is a one-time.
Okay.
If you don't build it in 3 years and the cost of building it goes up 100%, that's too bad. That's on you. This is the money you're getting. Yeah. Whereas if you're building it back exactly the way it was, if costs go up, they will adjust with those costs because you're doing it and putting it back on the same spot. So there are risks, very big risks, in not doing it, the way it was. If you try to, in our case, if we do this land swap, it's not going to go in the same spot. But if you build it more resilient, you can get mitigation funding, and there's all kinds of different avenues to try to get some money out of it, assuming there is money to get.
All right, so people don't get confused. There's no land swap for the pier. You were talking about.
Sorry.
Fire department.
You had mentioned the town hall, so that's why.
I just want to make sure people don't think there's going to be a land swap for the pier.
No land swap with the pier.
The pier is not moving.
No.
So, Dan, the Times Square, talking about the pier area, Times Square, it really got a facelift with the wall, and the clock is there, and people are already taking hundreds of selfies in that spot. And I know the Garden Club is trying to come up with like a menu of native plants to put behind the wall. What's being done to that Dairy Queen restaurant spot? It's such a shithole. The cement is broken up. The weeds aren't picked up. And I know it's it's clearly not a town property, but I mean, it's right in a perfect spot for people that want to go there, and they got to see that. What's going on with that piece of property? Anything?
Not a lot. There's all kinds of rumors out there, but there's no, we heard maybe it's under contract, maybe it's not. I don't know. I haven't spoken to the property owner, so I'm not exactly sure what the intentions are there, what the plans are. But yeah, there's some very dangerous things over there that need to be addressed sooner than later.
The concrete is broken into pieces where if some idiot with a camera is walking around on there doing a video, he could easily fall and get hurt. And it just seems like, is the town doing anything to put pressure on them to clean it up is what I really wanted to know.
Well, yeah, all we can do is let them know that they're on our radar about getting these things fixed and go through that process. I know I keep saying the word process a lot, but it's
there's a lot of drinking going on tonight if that was on their list.
Yeah, if it wasn't, they made a mistake.
Next week.
Well, when I was down there, I saw some kids on the stairs, the concrete stairs that are still there that I think went to the pier side. Was that what?
Yeah.
What it was?
Yeah, pier side.
I was like, because I couldn't see where they were stepping or standing, but you can see I don't know, but you can see around the area that there's rebar in different spots, and it's I
would think that would be a concern of mine if it was my property, is someone inherently going out there and getting hurt, and something that I worked very hard for to have in my name for a long time could be stripped away from me from a simple accident. I would be very cognizant of wanting to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's not secured. It's not roped off. I didn't see any signs that even say no trespassing. So I don't know. Yeah, that would make me nervous.
So the other thing, of course, is permitting. We have to talk about permitting. We didn't do it last week. So how do you think things are going with permitting as of today?
Well, you heard Andy. Well, my email isn't filling up, so I usually use that as a barometer of if things are getting better or if are people making it through the process a little easier. You heard Andy make an announcement today. He's working with bringing everything in house, which we've kind of alluded to for the last month or so. Just trying to, dot some I's and cross some T's to get that across the finish line, so that we can make sure that this process gets fixed. We all know there's process issues that we have to work through, and that's number one priority.
Okay. So it's a new company. You'll be taking it away from whatever outsource company that you have on the other coast. It's a local company. So if you're changing companies, how is that bringing it in-house? Are those employees going to be working at town hall? How will that whole thing look to the residents?
Yeah, there'll be people in the building official, stuff like that will be right where we can reach them. They're not on the other coast. Let's put it that way. They're either in the building or they're very close. They work in a similar. They work very close by. So it's a matter of, we can have someone in front of us in a matter of minutes versus not having someone in front of us at all.
Okay. All right. Did we miss any updates that you want to make sure people hear about with any of the projects or any of the things going on?
No, I think we've got there's something coming. I think there's something coming out soon about the Little League baseball field. I think Jeff was working with Major League Baseball to see when they could get that on their schedule to be able to get that open. I didn't get a chance to talk with Frankie today to see kind of where we're at on all the projects. It's been a whirlwind the last couple of weeks, just trying to get as much done as we can before the 28th to let our staff, and I appreciate you putting out a post about the staff, because they've really worked their tails off over the last couple of weeks to try to get as much done as they could before the 28th to get things cleaned up, and without them, we're just a bunch of dopes that sit here and talk and make policy. They're the ones that really do all the work. So we appreciate all that they do, and
yep,
they did a lot of work.
Yeah, we mostly saw them on the 28th at Bayside Park. And, like I mentioned in the post, Jeff and Jason were out there in the dark, getting things set up with the barriers and, just running around crazy. And then one by one, more staff members started showing up, dropping off chairs. And, you could tell two things. It seems like they really, I'm not saying they didn't before, because I never saw them before the way I see them now, but they really enjoy working for Andy, and they really enjoy the way things are headed. And they, and the other thing is that at the town council meetings, you see these department heads doing reports where you never even saw their faces before. It was just one person doing all the talking. And it really just seems like a complete change. And, that's just me looking from the outside in. I don't have anybody telling me that. I'm just, my perspective.
Yeah, I think, it's nice for people to be able to see a face with a name, when they can hear him speak and they can see him speak and they have access to him at the council meetings. That goes a long way, because, not everybody has the time to come in or sit down, and staff included, to sit down all the time for every single meeting. But when they're at the meeting, at least you can interact with them. You can hear them. You can ask questions. I think it goes a long way. And it makes people feel more at ease. So when they do go into town hall, they know who they're looking for.
Yes.
They've heard them speak. They understand it. I think it just makes it a more pleasurable experience for everyone.
And there was quite a bit of discussion today at the council meeting from Frankie and from Karen and from John and from everybody that there's, they're changing the name of base to, I don't know if it was something
neighborhood services.
Neighborhood services. And even Jim was saying that, it's going to be more of an education than it is, trying to get people with tickets and culture change and the whole thing. And people, and they want people in the community to know that change is coming, and they want them to be able to feel it when they're out interacting with with the employees and the base folks that are out driving around. So that was an interesting thing to hear this morning.
Well, I think you noticed it. Well, at least I noticed it, walking around Times Square and the rest of the island. You saw, I'm trying to get used to saying neighborhood services now. You saw neighborhood services driving around but they weren't stopping and looking at every single car, trying to find someone that, so it's a little softer approach. And it certainly doesn't mean come down, park your car and don't pay any meter fees at all. But they're not going to be, you're not going to, you guys can attest to this. Before it was every 10 minutes, you'd see a patrol car or you'd see a patrol buggy come up and they'd be looking. And there's so many other things that we can focus on. And Andy and Frankie realize that, and they're making progress on cleaning some of those things up and moving them to where they're more needed.
Yeah. And I just want to say that, another person that was really working hard on the 28th was Jenny Dexter. She was running around. I saw her. I saw her earlier in the day, but I saw her at the end of the day, and I didn't get to say anything to her. I looked at her and I thought, yeah, it's been a hot day, because she and I both had really red faces. I'm sure you did too. It was hot. 150 degrees down there in Times Square, and so 5 gallons of water later. But I saw her later on the day at Wahoo Willie's, and so kudos to her and her team, and to the neighborhood services who were out there directing traffic at where the light is out. They were doing their level best to keep traffic moving and get pedestrians across. So so that was good. One other thing. I just want to say too, for people's safety, I was out there on Sunday, and those 2 young guys pulled that huge metal door out of the sand and said that it had just been sticking up, like a little piece was sticking up. So they went to pick up a little piece of metal, and it ended up being like this huge door,
like 4 feet long.
Yeah. And they put it up against, they're like, where do we put it? I'm like, no, but they put it up. They put it up out of the way. But people, please wear your shoes and be really,
absolutely.
Really
I heard stories over the weekend. Someone found a safe washed up.
Yeah, I got pictures of it. Dan, I can't find it. I wanted to post a picture of it, and I can't remember who sent it to me, because that probably belongs to somebody. I think they brought it to the sheriff's department or something.
Yeah, I think the sheriff's department picked it up. But I mean, your point is it should be repeated many times. Just because it looks beautiful, there's still stuff that's washing up every day. You see how high the tides got this weekend with the full moons, and with those high tides brings in stuff that just washes up, and then when it goes away or it exposes itself, for me, I wonder, was it always there and now just sand moving, it is now exposed itself, or did it get washed up and then left? Hard to say, but wear your shoes. You don't want to be the one that catches something. Like you said, there's a small little piece sticking out, but what you can't see is the danger thing. So, there's gonna be stuff washing up, and we're gonna find for quite a long time. And I would just hate for someone to cut their foot or worse because they just didn't wear shoes.
I mean, that thing was covered with shells. It obviously had been in the water a long time, but it was big. They thought it was maybe off a semi truck.
Keep them talking, dear. Somebody just sent me a picture of the safe, so I got to figure out how to get it on the screen.
I heard stories, but I didn't get a chance to see it. But it's in the right hands now, so I don't know.
And it was nice for those kids they were young guys that spent their time digging that thing out and moving it out of the way, and there it is.
That's not on the
all right.
No, and everybody's always out there cleaning up. It just seems like every day people just want to go out there and help clean up. I ran into a lady early Saturday morning who was just out there picking up little pieces of glass. She just happened to be out on her walk, and she's picking up little pieces of glass.
Well, yeah, these guys also found some broken Christmas ornaments. So, there's a lot of stuff, big and small, that could, cut a foot. Then you got to get a tetanus shot. Nobody wants to deal with that. So please wear your shoes. It certainly
is a labor of love. It's amazing to see every day how many people go out there and continue to help clean up. And it's a true example of many hands make light work. And not one person can be out there all day, every day picking stuff up. So having people do that and leave the garbage by the beach access, and we'll come by and get it. It helps all of us out.
Well, yeah, I think people now, it's like not a treasure hunt, but a quasi, like what am I going to find today?
Okay.
Yeah, it
so-
looks like one of those cash boxes that you
Yep.
can put money in. And
Yeah, somebody. Okay, Full Moon does bringing crazy shit. Oh, sorry, she typed that in her text. Sue found a cash box on the beach. Can you check with Tom from Maola to see if it's his? I also have pictures of the police officers that came, but I didn't get their permission. So apparently they gave it to LCSO. So if anybody recognizes that cash box from a business, or it could have come from a house, right? I mean, who knows?
could have come from anywhere. Could have, yeah, hard to say. Because when I heard about it and they were describing it, my first thought was it, one of those little safes you see at the hotel
Yeah.
rooms or something that washed out. But they said, no, this is an actually really big cash box. So it, it was certainly amazing what you're going to find. You never know what's going to wash up.
One interesting 4 days from Thursday to Sunday. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Just wanted to get a metal detector, but now, I mean, they were in full force on Sunday.
Yeah,
There was a
kidding.
bunch of them down there, and those things were going off left and right.
You can
So,
only
People are saying,
imagine what they're finding.
Now people are sending me all kinds of crap that they found over the weekend. So it's just gonna be a whole
Well, it might be a
Facebook-
nice
Be a whole
collage
thing.
of the things that you
Yeah.
find. And,
things
you know,
that were found. So Dan, on hot days like that in the future, when you're up on the stage, you got to get people like Guthrie's got, man. He had like a harem of people bringing him up fans and blowing wind on them, and he had his shoes off. They put his feet in ice water. I mean, the whole thing. They were taking care of that guy big time. So you got to get people like that.
Well, he's
There
an
was
important guy. He's an
Yeah.
important guy. You got to take care of him. I mean, can you imagine?
there was a lot of talk up there about you guys getting some fans or shade next.
If you need
Yeah, I
donations,
told,
for
I
fans,
told
just let me
Frankie
know.
to add it to his list. I said,
Yeah.
Frankie, you got to add this to your list of things we need to add. But
Well,
I
that's
thought,
going to
I
get
thought it went
approved.
off. It went off as good as can be expected in the heat, and
Yeah.
it was hot, and people were getting cranky up at Times Square. I don't know if you guys walked up there and checked it out, but
Yeah.
we were trying to wait for the lieutenant governor to get there so that we could get the picture and get the thing cut. And boy, there was one lady who was just letting us have it.
Yep.
I told her, I said, just give us a couple minutes. We just we just saw the lieutenant governor pulled up, and just give us a couple minutes. And she said, well, he can wait. And I said, well, it's a she, but
Yeah.
but I'm
I was standing next to those two ladies, and then a crew, like a media crew, and I think they were speaking Spanish, came and pushed them out of the way. Those two ladies were having none of it, and it got so heated. I was like, and I'm just going to move over here stage right, because this is going to pop off in a bad way.
She
Yeah.
said that she heard the crowd trying
yeah.
to get you to cut the ribbon by going 5, 4, 3, and you guys weren't even ready.
I heard that she kept cheering to get the crowd started. I was waiting for the "We're tired of waiting" chant or something. They were getting restless,
Yeah.
but it went off nice, and it's nice to see the clock back there, and starting to see some really cool pictures.
Yeah. There was something else I was gonna say, and I completely forgot what it is. I don't know if it was about that. So, oh well.
Did you guys
We
get
all-
a chance to get down this weekend? And I know you were doing your show and that, but did you get a chance to come down and see any of the Island Hopper music?
I did. Yeah, so actually I went back down Saturday night and went to the Lighthouse, and then went over to Wahoo's and Yucatan. But yeah, I guess there'd been a little bit of rain, so whoever was in Bayside, they moved into Wahoo Willie's, which worked out, I think,
Great
great for
event.
everybody. But it was like the good old days down there, with the places being packed and people having a good time, but not too good of a time. It was an older crowd. It wasn't like, a spring break crowd. So people were keeping it in check and having a good time. And
There's a lot of
yeah.
activity, and people were smiling, and the staff at these restaurants, they were every single one of them working their tails off this weekend. But I'm sure that towards the end they were getting a little tired of it. But I'm sure that they were thankful for all the people spending all the money.
So were you out and about at all on Saturday night?
I think we had some friends in town, so we got to see almost every one of the performers. Some of them a couple times. I think one of our favorites was Connor Sweet. If anybody got a chance to see Connor Sweet, he's a younger kid. He's probably in his early 20s. He's got one of those voices that you can hear a mile away, and you're like, oh, this guy's going to be a star.
Nice.
His songs are really good. We saw Christian Bush play a couple times. Obviously Sheena, we saw Sheena once or twice. So, I mean, we got a good chance to see a lot of them, and then a lot of them were really, really good. And then we went to the one last night where Chris Jansen was playing. So there was a good turnout there. And some of the Spencer Roach was there. I got to talk to Spencer Roach, and some other people were down there. So Jenna Malika was down there with her husband David and their newborn baby. So got to chat with them for a little bit. So it was nice to see there was a good turnout for that as well. And he put on a really good show, went for about 2 hours, and that guy's full of energy.
Yeah. So now I remembered we were kind of goofing around over the weekend trying to we kind of rated the top 3 speeches from the 28th and the worst 3 speeches from the 28th.
Oh,
so what do you think? So I think that we kind of agreed on Spencer's was a good one. Of course, Marcino was a good one. The lieutenant governor, because she kind of related a story, or no, Pasadomo related a story, which was short and sweet, and she was affected by the storm, and there was one other one that we thought was pretty good, and the worst was Jonathan Martin for sure. He after a while it seemed like he was just standing up there and not saying anything because he just wanted to stay up there for a certain amount of time like everybody else.
He does not represent my opinion.
And of course,
or the town of Fort Myers beaches.
We loved Adam Botana because he mentioned us.
Adam is a hoot. He is a hoot.
And of course, Kevin Guthrie went on and thanked every single employee that's ever worked in the state of Florida.
Well, I thought it was, I thought it was a good mixture. Usually when you go to those, there's a lot of there's a lot of facts, and there's a lot of and I thought it was broken up pretty good amongst everyone, and some made some facts out there. Obviously, Director Guthrie made a lot of good points about all the things that they have done, not just for our community, but obviously in all the disasters, and that's his job. And sometimes you forget about that information. So it was nice to hear that other people got to hear some of it. So I thought it was a good mix. Some people were quicker. I think as the heat got more intense, the speeches got a little bit shorter, but it
was cracking me up.
26 minutes. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. It was cracking me up when Guthrie kept saying he's going to speed this up, and he never did.
Yeah, he
did good too.
Yeah, Jimmy Petronas was good too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean he's always a happy-go-lucky guy, and he's never a dull moment. Yeah, so he's done a lot for our residents with he and Councilor Vice Mayor Adderholt with the insurance villages. So keep an eye on his website so that you can see where the next ones are.
Yeah, and I don't think the school superintendent his speech went over very well with the people in the crowd. Anyway, I mean, they obviously there's a little bias there because a lot of people in the crowd feel like the school got the raw end of the stick.
And it was difficult for me. I was not expecting that many people or the response we got from the dignitaries that were up there. But when you're standing up there looking out, you see people and you wish you could thank every single person.
Yeah.
But there were so many. And beforehand, Vice Mayor Adderholt asked me, he's like, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to just write down everybody you see and try to, I'm like, Jim, there's no way.
I heard you guys talking about that, and I was like, don't do it.
I'm no way I'm going to be able to do it. And of course, Anita's sitting in the front row, and God bless her heart. She's so emotional, and so it was nice to see the smiles and the people. And so if I didn't acknowledge you, I certainly apologize. I tried to do my best, but there's a lot of people to thank, and we would have been there for another hour and a half trying to thank every single person that was in the crowd that has helped us over the last year.
All right, Dan, we'll let you go, and thank you for your time. We'll see you next Monday, but Thursday is the M&P meeting, and
yes, it is.
We'll see you at that.
Good deal. Hopefully get some more good news this week. We'll find out.
Thanks a lot, guys. Mayor Dan Allers, episode number 38.
Thank you, Rhonda.
What did she say? Oh, yours was the favorite, she said. Before we go, Alex King on the CCR team. That's Coastal Construction Realty. They're a team of a dozen realtors with expertise, and Alex is their leader. He's the king of CCR. He just got a like a reality show or something. He's going to be hosting. If you check out his Facebook page, he posted on there that he's going to be doing some new TV show.
Yeah.
It's probably not a reality show. It's
funny. I did an interview with, that was one of the interviews I did early on with a woman who lives in around our community, but she
knows Alex King.
No, she was doing that too. That
Oh.
same show. Yeah.
So give Alex a call if you want to sell your property, or if you want to talk to him about buying some property. There's property for sale on Fort Myers Beach. Give Alex a call at 239-747-7446 or email him at alex@currentcoastalrealty.com. See how easy it is, dear, to just wing it? You're
Dear,
reading it. Sylvester
I'm
Companies
talking to Eddie, I'm
is a
calling you.
licensed, bonded, and insured builder in Southwest Florida, and they're a brand new sponsor of ours, and we appreciate them. They're registered and currently working on large projects in Sarasota, Lee, Charlotte counties, and of course, Fort Myers Beach. A member of the Florida Home Builders Association, and at the state and the national level, specializing in new construction, restoration, major remodeling, floodplain construction, the 50/50. FEMA rules, the pool cages and the eyes, everything. Give Paul Sylvester a call at 989-239-5538. That's 989-239-5538. And thank you to the Sylvester Companies for sponsoring the show.
A shout out. I think that Twig Clemens is the one who gave me I now have a wraparound fan
Yeah.
in my neck.
We're going to have to buy 22 of them for the next Bayside Park.
You could put your name on them.
Yeah, get a logo on them. If you saw our Facebook page before the show, you saw that we did an update on the Chapel by the Sea. They are going to demo that building. They're working on getting a permit to demolish that building. And Tom says that their hope is to build maybe a smaller church on that property. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Thanks again to everybody who donated the $2,200 in 49 minutes for the Beach Baptist Trunk or Treat, which is being held on Halloween, of course.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And tomorrow's newsletter will have all the details and much, much more.
What are you going to dress up as this year?
Oh, by the way, everybody, look what I got. There it is. My new trumpet. I think I dropped the mouthpiece though. Someday I'll be able to play the national anthem. Doo-doo.
Did you say Sunday or Sunday?
Figure out how to get lessons.
Outside of the house.
Can
That's
you-
an outdoor activity.
Can you take trumpet lessons on YouTube?
Yeah. I think
See
you
if I
can
can
learn
do it that way.
anything, but not in the house. Got to be outside of the house.
All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll be back Saturday from the Wahoo Willies. What? Can we ask when work on the bathrooms? Sue, you've not been paying attention. The bathrooms will not be replaced at Lynn Hall Park. The buildings will be demolished. And
But they have the I'm not talking about the porta potties.
no,
but
they have
the-
trailers there
the-
now. They're
they're-
nice.
They're nice. I don't
Air
know
conditioned.
when they're gonna the porta potties and put in maybe another trailer, but yeah, those trailer
Right.
bathrooms, that's the only place there's air conditioning.
Yeah.
This was the first place I ran after the clock reveal. I was knocking people left and right to get into that potty because there was air.
They are going to replace the Lynn Hall Park bathrooms with a trailer. Dave Harner said it will be a nice trailer, but it will be a trailer. You cannot rebuild those Lynn Hall bathrooms, not the way they were. So that is an update there. We'll keep you posted. That's it. You done? All right. We'll see you all Saturday morning at 11 o'clock from Wahoo Willies.
Wear your shoes on the beach.
Bye-bye.